He's Tony, I'm Mike, and this is week 9 of the Action Bowl!
This is week 1 of round 2 of the Action Bowl. Mike is going to be drawing for Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to be drawing for Wesley Snipes. Let's see how ugly this one is going to get. So,
all right. Give me a good one. Give me a good one.
oh, you only get one to a customer, sir.
Red Heat.
Tough break for Schwarzenegger.
This is not a good draw for Schwarzenegger at all. 2 in a row. If he manages to get through this round against whatever you draw for Snipes, that motherfucker deserves to go through to win in the end. Because what I remember this movie is flipping dog shit.
You do remember Jim Belushi, right?
I'm trying to forget Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, James Belushi. Is it James?
It doesn't fucking matter. He sucks.
It's the other Belushi. So
he's not the good one. The good one died years ago.
What's the matter with Curly Sue? I love that movie.
Curly Sue. Wow. This is gonna be tough. All right, so let's see what you draw for Mr. Snipes.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh. Passenger 57.
Oh no. Oh no. I mean, you know what this means.
It is anybody's game.
No! Always bet on black! Fuck! This is gonna be close. This is gonna be really close.
You know what?
I don't know. I have no idea who's gonna win this.
Neither do I, and I'm just gonna say whoever does win it definitely deserves to move on to round 3. But as it stands, I can't make a prediction on this one. I haven't seen either of these films in
years.
Shit, 15, 20 years at this point. So our scoring, our comments coming up next. Stay tuned. Week 9 of the Action Bowl sees Arnold Schwarzenegger facing off against Wesley Snipes. The movies that they drew, not our competitors' best.
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger drew Red Heat and Wesley Snipes drew Passenger 57. Let's talk Red Heat first.
Okay. All right. Here's what I gotta say about Red Heat. James Belushi. Why were you ever a thing? I don't get it. I don't understand it. The only thing I got is the fact that your brother was awesome, and so now you're just a legacy. You know, kind of like in Animal House, you know, you're Flounder. They had to bring you in because they had no choice. Now that being said,
I'm just gonna say this. You're not wrong. Jim Belushi in this film is a huge misfire because he's trying to pull off this like tough Chicago cop thing, and it just doesn't work.
For your information, Captain, I bagged one of your Russians. Unfortunately, he's not dead. He's in the intensive care unit.
And the harder he tries to come off, or the more sarcastic and sardonic he tries to come off, the worse it gets. He's not charming. He's not funny. He's not even fucking likable in this. And it was like hard watching him. He had like 2 good jokes that I can think of. And the first one was the Marvin Hagler joke.
You look like Marvin Hagler to me. I lost money on Hagler.
Yeah,
that one actually had me laugh. And then, other than that, it was like much deeper in the film when they're at the cafe and the waitress is there giving them coffee.
Look, lady, I just got my coffee the perfect color. It's the only thing I got going for me tonight.
That was it.
I'll see if that was a snarky dick that I was like, oh man, she's just a fucking waitress. What I give her shit for? You know?
Exactly. It was kind of funny, but at the same time, it was just kind of.
It was a dick move.
So yeah, it was, but it was funny in a dickish way. I'm just throwing that out there right now.
How you doing, honey?
Blow yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good thinking.
So, now I will say this though, without that though, it would have been super bland because Schwarzenegger didn't have a lot to do short of, do Arnold Schwarzenegger type of things.
Thank you.
So you had to have that kind of character in there. It was kind of a necessary evil, but it could have been casted different and it could have been directed different, really.
I'm not going to fault the directing. I'm going to straight up
I'm
going to fault the casting on this. If they had gotten Nick Nolte, which that's obviously what they were shooting for. They wanted somebody that was snarky and smartass, but could hold his own. And Jim Belushi just couldn't.
Sorry about that hand. You gotta watch these door jams. They're dangerous.
At the end of the day, like, if you could picture Nick Nolte in 48 Hours, because that was a Walter Hill film, and this is a Walter Hill film, and this is very much a Mad Libs version of 48 Hours. Like, literally, just
oh my God, you're 100% correct on that.
One's a convict and one's a cop. Well, in this one, one's a Soviet and one's an American, but they're both cops.
What did he do? Take a leak on the Kremlin wall or something?
And they're chasing the bad guy, and the villain in this
is very weak too.
He plays a great second fiddle in Lethal Weapon. That was the same dude, the one who Mr. Joshua, burned his arm to impress just how loyal he was. But at
Isn't
the end,
that the same guy?
Same exact dude.
I don't think this whole goddamn setup's funny. You're using mercenaries, for Christ's sake. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are out there, you're gone. But in this one, he plays the Soviet, so he speaks with bad Russian accent.
Well, at least he did come off menacing
a bit
in it, so I'll give him that. It's just not like a good plot,
it's not chasing someone halfway around the world.
A Soviet, drug dealer in America.
Any country that can survive Stalin can certainly handle a little dope.
Well, see, here's the other thing, too. The Chicago connection? No! If this had taken place in Colombia, that at least would make some sort of sense. If this took place in L.A. or New York, it would make some kind of sense.
Yeah, Chicago.
Why Chicago?
I got nothing.
It was...
That is the most random... Yes, you're 100% correct. Again, yes, New York, L.A. would have been great.
So...
yeah.
But... it's one of those films that it's so formulaic. Like, it's easy. I understand why this is kind of a forgotten film, because this film is fucking forgettable. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, even down to the whole bus versus train thing. At the end, I mean, there's.
I forgot all about that. I didn't realize that was a thing until like the last few seconds.
Is there any part of this movie that stands out to you in any way?
Really, just the intro, the opening scene in Russia where he's in the bathhouse.
Yeah.
Is really the best scene in the whole movie by far. And to be honest with you, I think it would have been better if the whole thing would have took place in Russia. Yeah, because then you want to hide Schwarzenegger's accent. You wouldn't have had John Belushi in it at all, which would have been a huge plus there. So Walter Hill, give us a call. We'll write a script for you. Or doctor it.
That's what this needed. It needed a doctor. It needed somebody to read this and go, this doesn't make sense, we need to change this. This doesn't make sense, we need to change this. They needed, I'm sure they shot in Chicago because it hadn't really been put on film in a big, important way yet. And like Walter Hill was running out of cities at that point because he'd already done New York in The Warriors and he'd already done San Francisco in 48 Hours. So he was out of options. So he thought, he reached into his Mad Libs hat and pulled out Chicago and thought, yeah, let's give that one a shot. Why not?
Here's the other thing, though. Is like, I mean, I'm not super familiar with Chicago, but at the same time, there's nothing really distinctively Chicago about it. I mean, it could have been any city.
really. It could have been Philadelphia.
Yeah,
any place that has a elevated train. It would have worked on this one.
Which pretty much any city in in the East Coast anyway.
Pretty much.
In the Northeast.
I still don't get the big cocaine connection.
Cocainum.
And here's the other thing too. Okay, there was the all black gang. What was their purpose in this film?
They supplied the cocaine.
Okay, but like
or they're the mediators between
the Colombians and the Russians on that one. Okay, fine, but like, what was the whole bit with them going to prison to talk to the guy that was in jail who was blind?
I still want Victor Roster.
Yeah, real bad, I can tell.
Where can I find him?
I tell you what I am going to do, Captain. I'm going to put you two white boys together, see if you can't work this thing out.
Which it wanted to be an interesting scene. It just didn't work because it didn't make any fucking sense. That's like, I don't know what to do about that one. I'm like watching this going, what? The whole time. So.
Yeah, I mean, the second John Belushi came on screen, I didn't really.
No, Jim Belushi, not John.
I'm sorry. Sorry, John. But yeah, the second Jim came on screen, I stopped worrying about plot and things like that, stuff of real importance. I just kicked back and enjoyed it for what it was, as much as I could. Again, it's the Action Bowl. These are supposed to be fun movies, not
intricate plots with interwoven character studies. And I get it.
Yeah.
So
popcorn fodder.
It is the Action Bowl. So let's cut to the chase on this one. Let's get down to the numbers because I know how I scored this. I've got to hear your scores.
Okay. So you're gonna think I'm really generous, but it's an average action film, so I gave it average action scores. The plot was a 6. It's a little bit different. You got the Soviet people coming over and there's some drugs and stuff like that. Because normally, if it's a Russian coming over in the 80s, it would have been a terrorist plot or defecting or something like that. It would have been some sort of diplomatic thing. So I gave it some points for that. A semi-different take on the buddy cop thing. It's there. Style of 6. It's again, it's
competent.
It's competent.
Yeah.
Nothing really stands out, but there's nothing really deficient about it either. And there were some good action scenes in it.
Yeah.
Some good shootouts. And while you didn't like the train bus thing, it was different enough. Fun. It's just a 5.
So you're being extremely generous. I'm going to say that right now. The best part about this movie was we finally got to see what the dancing girl from Crossroads looked like as a prostitute. So.
No, not me. I'm not with them.
The dancing girl.
Yeah, do you remember at the end of Crossroads where there's the girl dancing around while Ralph Macchio and Steve Vai are having their cutting heads tournament? Remember the shootout? Yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly who that is. I had to look. I was like, I know that face. I know who that is, but I couldn't picture it. And then I went and looked, and I was like, oh, okay, that's the same girl from Crossroads. But that all being said,
that flew over my head.
So for the plot, I gave this a 5, and I gave it a 5 because it is Mad Libs. It is absolutely take your generic action film, scratch out whatever city, whatever buddy cop duo you have, and just start filling in the blanks. And that's exactly how I feel about this. For the style, I gave it a 4. And I gave it a 4 because it's competent, but it's not like nothing wowed me in the entire thing. It was slightly above average, but then it wasn't, I mean, like I said, they do everything they can with what they've got to work with, but none of it like really stuck. I can't think of a single like outstanding action sequence in this. Yeah. So for it is, and for the fun, I gave it a 3. I gave it a 3 because it wasn't a fun watch. I was not like whooping and hollering. I was just kind of like, okay, it's done. There's that was a movie. It had starting credits and ending credits, and there was kind of a plot in the middle in there. So sure, fun, woo. So my total score on this one is a 12.
Okay, and my total score then is a 17.
So you're being way more generous than I am. So that's our scores for Red Heat. Coming up next, Passenger 57. Stay tuned. Our second film of this week's matchup is Wesley Snipes in Passenger 57. There's a lot of history with this film that I have. But
all right, let's hear it real quick.
Well, I was going to say, this is one of the illustrious 5. This is one of the 5 films that I paid money for and walked out of at a movie theater. And I didn't want to confess that before we got here, but here we are. We may not have drawn it, but we did. But that all being said, give us the rundown on Passenger 57 plot-wise.
Do I have to? Well, anyway, so it's Wesley Snipes. He recently lost his wife.
I'm putting the gun down. You just stay cool, all right? You're gonna be all right, baby. I'm not gonna try to stop you, man.
You shouldn't have tried to stop me the first time.
He's a very mopey guy. He's very sad. He's very angry. And his buddy's trying to help him out. Tom Sizemore. Tom Sizemore is a freaking saint in this movie trying to help this asshole out.
Look, Ramsey wants me to hire the best person available to head up the counterterrorism unit. That person happens to be you.
Well, I don't want that responsibility.
Yeah? Well, I don't want to be so good looking.
Because he's not a nice guy.
No,
Wesley Snipes is not a likable character. And he sucks at his job, all right? During this training thing, the stewardess disarmed him.
With the help of a passenger.
It doesn't matter. He's supposed to be a professional, all right?
Yeah.
And some stewardess fucking kicked your ass.
Yeah.
So there's that. But somehow he magically gets a job as a, what the hell is he doing? Some sort of security expert, some shit like that for an airline. And funny enough, he's on a flight to this job, and the same stewardess is on the plane. And then also, funny enough, the villain is also on that plane.
Of course.
With a very hot and very young Elizabeth Hurley.
I'm Sabrina Ritchie, by the way. How do you do?
Marty Slayton. Sabrina, what a beautiful name.
Oh, it's a thing most wondrous to be flattered by one of your peers.
Yes.
Damn. So anyways, shenanigans ensue. And you know what? Again, Wesley Snipes, I like me Wesley Snipes. I really do.
Yeah.
But in this movie, he's an unlikable douche. And I was rooting for the villain the whole time.
The only thing that kept me from rooting for the villain in this film is the fact that the villain is the dumbest villain on the planet.
How would you like your sirloin, sir?
Bloody.
At the beginning, they start off, and he's in a plastic surgeon thing. He's going to get his face changed so that he can like go on the sly. And he tells the surgeon, no, I don't need anesthesia. Just cut my face up.
No, thank you. I have to give you something for the pain. There will be no pain.
And I'm thinking, what? If you think this makes you look like a badass when you're dead because you've lost a ton of blood and you've gone into shock, woo, what a tough guy you are. And then the cops close in and he goes running out. And then his whole plot is stupid. Like, can you tell me what his goal was by hijacking this plane?
Basically just to get out of going to prison, really.
Oh.
I mean, it's the long and short of that one, so.
And yet, if he hadn't wasted all that time at the plastic surgeon's office, he could have very easily have escaped and evaded. So,
Well, it's not the actor's fault for this one.
It is the nature of man to confuse genius with insanity.
No,
it's the shitty fucking story and the shitty fucking plot. The actor himself did a great job because he's very menacing, especially for a no-name dude.
I've just executed 5 passengers. I will execute 5 more every 3 minutes until you find me someone who is authorized to meet my demands.
Look, I want to help.
I don't know what the fuck the guy's name is.
We'll throw it right here.
But he was a compelling villain.
He did everything he could
with what he had.
Really hammy, bad dialogue and plot that he was given. I will give you that.
I liked him better than Wesley Snipes.
How hard is that in this film?
I had such wonderful plans for us.
And
not hard, but still, for a no-name jobber villain, it should give 2 fucks about. saying a lot.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And the thing is, I am a Wesley Snipes fan. I have watched a lot of his action films, but this movie is so by the numbers. It is so obviously written by committee. It is so, hey, wait, how about I say this line here?
Charlie, you ever play roulette?
On occasion.
Well, let me give you a word of advice.
Always bet on black.
You know, while they're actually shooting it. It's so hodgepodgey and so, it's insultingly dumb, is really what it boils down to. It makes zero sense whatsoever, and I will never watch this film again, and I feel pretty good saying that. Sorry, Wesley, you ain't getting my royalty check for buying the Blu-ray on this one, not even in a box set. I will buy around it. That's what I got on this one. So,
I mean, you should just cut to the fucking scores.
Yes,
because obviously, for you, it's going to be scathing.
Yes.
I again was, and by your definition, going to be very generous on this one.
Yes.
So a plot's a 5. It's nothing you haven't seen before, but again, there's nothing like that was like god awful for me. Style's a 5. There's nothing again bad or good. It's just there. It just exists. Fun. I originally had a 3, and I thought that was kind of harsh, but looking back on it, I should have stuck with that score. But I changed it to a 4. So a score of 14.
You are being exceedingly generous.
All right, here it goes.
If you want to know just how bad, how much I dislike this film, for the plot, I gave it a 2. And I gave it a 2 because it is the most insipid, completely stupid plot that holds up to zero scrutiny whatsoever. It is just dumb. All the characters are dumb. Everything that's going on in this film is dumb. There is nothing redeeming about this.
Elizabeth Hurley.
Elizabeth Hurley is the only reason that it's not a 1. That's what I got for you on this one. So the nice plot twist where the hot stewardess turns out to be a villain, yeah, okay, you get a point for that one. Other than that, hot, smoking pile of garbage. For the style, I gave it a 1. Why?
Oh, shit!
Because there are so few action sequences in this film, and they are so far apart, and they are so lackluster. There is not a standout action scene in here. Yeah. And Wesley Snipes is trying to pull his kung fu master, you know, fighting in the cargo hold of the airplane thing. Come on. And it just looks lazy and stupid. And it's well shot, so I can't blame the cameraman, but I can most definitely blame whoever did the fight choreography on this. And the other thing is that why not bum rush him? You have like 5 dudes on a plane and it's just Wesley Snipes. No, we have to figure out a way to get everybody to go after him one at a time so that Wesley Snipes can beat their ass. It's stupid. And if you've got a gun and Wesley Snipes has got a knife, shoot his ass. Then you don't gotta be like, oh, I'm gonna fight you mano a mano. No, you blow his brains out and you like go upstairs and go, got him, boss, and then you like collect an extra check. And for the fun, I gave this a 1 because whoever thought it was a good idea to have a jumbo jet land in a residential airport and then have them go to the county fair, which is apparently just a short walk away from the airport. And then, like, the only thing that got a laugh out of me was when the clown got shot. All right, I was laughing hysterically because it was so stupid. So, yeah, for me, this is a 4. A 4. What does that mean? That means that it is tied for dead last with Jackie Chan's complete snooze fest to Spy Next Door. Wow. It is actually, in my opinion, the worst film we have watched for the Action Bowl. So,
well, there you have it. Fuck.
I feel better now. I needed to get that out.
All right, we're going to take a short break while he cools off. God damn, dude.
So, round 2 of the Action Bowl, week 9, Snipes, Schwarzenegger, and what it really all boils down to is Red Heat came in. Mike scored it a 17. I scored it a 12, so that gives it an average score of 14.5. And Wesley Snipes' Snooze Fest, Passenger 57, Mike somehow scored it a 14. I scored it a more appropriate 4, which gives us an average score of 9? 9.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for Wesley Snipes? Well, I'm going to tell you what that means. That means sometimes you should bet on red.
Oh, Wesley Snipes. Into the action bowl, shame you go, never to be spoken up again.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
So that's it for this week of the Action Bowl. Join us next week for one of the big upcoming events of this season. Cynthia Rothrock up against Sho Kosugi. What are they going to draw? What are we going to watch? I have no idea, but I guarantee you one thing, it's going to be damn entertaining. So we will catch you next week. See you then.